What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Enhanced. Yes, this is a mod for the original Splinter Cell, the PC version, that makes a lot of enhancements. I'll have a link to it in the description, but I highly recommend it for playing the original game on PC nowadays. I do need to point out a few things I have enabled for it. The ability to whistle has been added. Make sure it's on. There's the zoom levels for the SC20K. We don't really need that, but PS2 pistol accuracy, I think it makes the pistol more accurate. Thermal vision override, which allows you to have thermal vision from the beginning. But the most important thing I need to point out is the setting that's scale gadgets on hard difficulty, I think. I am going to choose not to do that. That's very important because it affects the diversion cameras later in the game. Because the knockout gas on the diversion cameras, originally, the knockout gas on hard difficulty, it didn't actually knock them out, it just stunned them. And if you do the scale gadgets on hard, it will knock them out. But I'm deliberately turning that off because later in the game, we'll be using the diversion camera gas to stun enemies because the goal is to ghost the levels as much as possible, only knocking out people that are mandatory, and in some circumstances, only killing people that are mandatory. So, I don't have too much to say about the training level. I'm mostly just going to use this level to exhaust things I'm going to be doing in each level, as well as a lot of the things that the Enhanced mod adds. Like I already mentioned, the whistle has been added, and I've enabled it. The ability to have thermal vision from the beginning has been added, and I've enabled that. And then the gadgets can be scaled so that, example, the diversion camera gas now knocks people out, but I have deliberately left that disabled for the reasons I've already mentioned. But to go into more detail on Splinter Cell Enhanced itself, which, like I said, I will make sure there's a link in the description for the video. In addition to making some improvements, like, a big one I forgot about is that, and the main reason why I'm doing these walkthroughs now, is that a rating system's been added. So yes, just like in Chaos Theory or both of the Double Agents, both versions of Double Agent, you can now get a stealth score on a 0 to 100% rating. So another thing I showed off in this level, just to be fun, is there's the little hidden room where you can meet Anna Grimm's daughter for the first time. I accidentally jumped up to the wrong room, though. You need a keypad code to open it. And the computer with the code is at the other end, and it's locked, so you need to get a lockpick, which is actually up here. This is where I had to do the ledge jump. So, yeah, I'm showing off how to do that, I guess, just so that there's something a little more interesting to discuss in the level. The lockpick's on the shelf right here. And then, there's a light switch for the room, too. Anyways, Splinter Cell Enhanced, if you haven't fixed the broken lighting effects in the game yourself, Splinter Cell Enhanced has all the necessary fixes pre-applied. So, if you haven't done that yourself, then getting Splinter Cell Enhanced eliminates the need. And then, I'll show it off here soon, but like I said, there is a rating system, and if you press and hold Tab, it shows the rating screen, and it also updates itself in real time, so if something happens that could have potentially lowered your score, you can just press and hold Tab and check. And then you can reload a quick save or just another save in general to to go back and correct yourself. And yes, I will be getting 100% for every single level. One thing that makes... But getting 100% for these levels in the first game, trust me, it's not easy, especially considering the fact that the rating system works kind of similar to Double Agent version 1, as in the Xbox 360 version, where it's very, very, very strict, and even if you knock out an enemy, it will reduce the stealth rating. But, thankfully, the people behind this enhanced mod, anybody that you absolutely have to take out in order to progress, like, for example, anyone that has a satchel with a door code, or anyone that you're required to knock out as an objective, does not count against you, which is good, because otherwise 100% would be impossible on some of the levels. So here's the room that required the lockpick so we can get the door code, 5656, and sorry to be redundant, but we have to backtrack through the course, and then we're going to go meet Grim. Obviously, you don't have to do this. It's more of an Easter egg than anything. I'm just showing it off because I wanted to. Another fix that this, two more fixes that I just thought of off the top of my head, the first of which I technically showed already, is that you no longer have to equip your lockpicks in order to get through a locked door. They changed it so that lockpicking is now an action on the action menu, just like it is in both Pandora Tomorrow and the inferior PS2/GameCube ports of this game. Another improvement added is that when you're near a keypad, if you have learned the code, the code will show up in the little objective notification thingy at the bottom of the screen, just like it does again in both Pandora Tomorrow and in the PS2/GameCube versions of this game. And you'll be seeing that in just a second. So a big thing I want to talk about with Splinter Cell Enhanced is their objective to restore cut content, because before Splinter Cell was officially released on Xbox back in 2002, it was originally supposed to have 12 levels instead of the 10 that we ended up getting. The cut levels were Nuclear Power Plant and Severonickel, respectively. The former of which was actually completed and put into the PS2 version of the game, which came out like a year later, I think. Whereas Severonickel was never officially completed, but instead the vast majority of its assets were handed down to the later released bonus mission called Cola Cell, which I'll probably... Cola Cell and the Veselka levels, they're also included in Splinter Cell Enhanced if you already don't have them. And I'll probably end up doing walkthroughs for them too, because I can. But what I really want to see is, as of right now, both Nuclear Power Plant and Severonickel are both playable and completable, but they're not 100% complete. I mean, they've made a lot of progress. A lot of bugs have been patched, a lot of texture glitches have been fixed, and it's now possible to progress and finish the levels, like I said. But they still don't have any dialogue audio, music, or like NPC audio or anything like that. All that stuff still needs to be added, but honestly, I get the feeling that they'll be able to add that stuff pretty soon, because the Russia soundtrack music that was intended for both of those levels, one thing I noticed when I replayed both Cola Cell and the Veselka levels is that Russia soundtrack music that was intended for both Power Plant and Severonickel, has been added in to Cell and Veselka. So if they could add it in there, they should be able to add it to those actual levels it was intended for. Another thing is that the very, very beginning of Severonickel is currently not... Okay, I think you can technically play it, but you might still have to go to the command console to launch it. But when you start Severonickel, it starts later in the level instead of at the very beginning. So they still need to fix the very beginning to be fully playable. But what I want to see happen is to have Nuclear Power Plant and Severonickel both completely completed with audio and everything. And what I really want to see is having the option to add them to the main story as they were intended. So, but in addition to getting the levels fully completed, they would also have to cut out the ending of Kalina Tech so that Junior Wilkes doesn't get killed anymore, since he was originally supposed to be killed at the end of Severonickel. And as far as I know, I haven't fully beaten Severonickel myself yet, but the ending cinematic where Wilkes was supposed to get killed is intact. And they've even restored the original cutscene of Wilkes dying, where Lambert is supposed to say the Severonickel data led them to the Chinese embassy in Yangon, instead of the Kalina Tech data, which is what he said in the final game. So, once they finish both Power Plant and Severonickel, and then I want them to be able to give the option to add them back to the main story between Kalina Tech and Chinese Embassy 1, with the ending of Kalina Tech altered, and the opening cutscenes for Chinese Embassy 1 adjusted accordingly for the sake of continuity. That way we can finally get a Splinter Cell Extended Edition with the 12 levels that were originally intended before it actually came out. Now, I think there were actually supposed to be 14 levels, because there was also Shipyard and Mining Town, the former of which, whatever assets of it still existed, were turned into the 2 Veselka levels. Which I should mention, the Splinter Cell Enhanced takes the 2 Veselka levels and combines them into 1. Anyways, I'm assuming the Veselka levels are what existed of Shipyard. But as far as I know, Mining Town hardly has any assets of it left over. So I'm not expecting to ever see Shipyard or Mining Town restored, but that's only because, based off of old gaming media videos and interviews I watched through research, the developers themselves said that the game was supposed to have 12 levels before it came out and got cut to only 10. Meaning that both Power Plant and Severonickel were supposed to be in the final game, but I'm really, really hoping they can be fully completed with the option of restoring them back into the final game, basically giving us an extended edition of this game. So as of right now, I can't play Nuclear Power Plant and Severonickel as part of the main story, but, and don't worry, when that happens in the future, I'll definitely post full walkthroughs of them. But as of right now, I'm just going to be doing the 10 levels, and I'll probably also do Cell and Veselka, but the latter of which I need to fully finish strategizing, because the submarine portion of that level is really hard to ghost. But I definitely have strategies to 100% the 10 official levels. So I should mention, as far as what's actually happening, The only hard part of this training is getting past that camera that I just got past. Just time your movements so that you can run past it without it seeing you. But I haven't really been explaining anything about this training level because it's very self-explanatory. That's why I've just been talking about Splinter Cell Enhanced in general, because this is the only opportunity I can really give good details on it. I'm trying to think of other things that Splinter Cell Enhanced added. Well, just in case I wasn't clear, you can play both Nuclear Power Plant and Severo-Nickel as of right now, but while the levels are playable and beatable, like I said, they lack a lot of audio, and they don't have there's not a lot of sound effects either, other than the sound effects of your weapons and equipment. There's no NPC dialogue, there's no OPSAT dialogue with Lambert or Grimm. That all still needs to be added in, but I get the feeling that they should be able to do that, especially for Severo-Nickel, because I've learned that a lot of the audio from Cola Cell is hand-me-downs from Severo-Nickel. So I get the feeling that adding the audio for that level shouldn't be too hard. For Nuclear Power Plant, hopefully it exists in the PC files. If not, they might have to somehow import it from the PS2 version where that level was actually completed. Oh, bonus thing. I'd love to see the white suit that the PS2 version of the power plant level added, somehow added in to this game to be usable at the power plant. But that's more minor. What I really want is to see the two cut levels put back into the main story, and under the Enhanced tab have the option to have either Splinter Cell Original Release with the 10 levels, or Splinter Cell Extended Edition with the two cut levels put back in, as well as the continuity fixes for both Kalinatech and Chinese Embassy between them. So yeah, that pretty much covers Splinter Cell Enhanced, and as far as the training level, I showed the little Easter egg of how to talk to Grimm in the observation room, but other than that, I don't really have much to say for this level. It's pretty self-explanatory. And of course, I think 3 people that you have to knock out, none of them count against your score because you have to knock them out. But there you go, 100%. In the next level, the real work begins. See you then.